Sir, shall we begin?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You may proceed.
Yeah. Very good evening to one and all present here. Our esteemed regional director, our esteemed and beloved resource person, Dr. Mohan Raj, and all the staff members, coordinators from the study centers, faculties from the headquarters, and our esteemed students of IGNOU and other stakeholders. We welcome you all for this webinar on environment and health, lifestyles for sustainability, being conducted by the IGNOU Regional Center, Madurai, as part of the special campaign 3.0 under Swachhata Pakwada, initiated by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. We welcome you all. Hope you have a pleasant time, because today's resource person even is busy schedule has committed to us to deliver this lecture. Now I invite our esteemed regional director to offer his presidential address, Professor Shanmugam from the IGNOU Regional Center, Madurai. I request you, sir, please initiate the proceedings, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anbalagan. Very good evening to all. Esteemed resource person, guest of this today's national webinar, Dr. R. Mohan Raj, Professor, Department of Environmental Science and Management, Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. Our colleagues from Regional Center and learner support centers across the region, invited students, participants, and other colleagues who have been sparing some time for this webinar. We are very much thankful to the resource person, Professor Mohan Raj, for accepting our request and being with us on this auspicious occasion to deliver a lecture on environment and health lifestyles for sustainability. Indira Gandhi National Open University, having its national jurisdiction, 57 regional centers across the country, having more than 2,200 study centers functioning in different colleges and universities, enrollment of more than 35 students in different programs, more than 250 programs. It is a very big network. We have been organizing number of webinars, inviting experts in their renowned field, benefiting their expertise, knowledge, to share their ideas with our own students as well as the members of IGNOU network. On this occasion, we are also functioning. We are also conducting as per the direction of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, joining in hands with their own schemes, projects, etc. So we know Swachh Bharat is one of the mission which has been taken up by Government of India very seriously, to have our clean environment. Because for healthy life, environment is very important. And we have been not only RC Madurai, all the regional centers are making efforts to conduct some webinars having relevant topics to share the ideas, etc. Today's webinar having Professor R. Mohan Raj from Bharathidasan University, be a very good presentation, deliberations, and our students who are here and the guests will be definitely benefited. We welcome you, sir. It is our privilege to have you on this forum today, and you will really be involved in many more activities of the IGNOU activities, because this area, because recently IGNOU has also started, is the only very few universities offering postgraduate level in environmental science, where IGNOU is offering MA post environmental science as well as MSc environmental science, benefiting the different target groups who will be gain knowledge on the environmental science. So with these few words, I thank Dr. Anbalagan, who has been instrumental in organizing this webinar, and all our colleagues, coordinators who have been supporting to have successful events in our activities, and our learners or the students or the participants who have been giving continuously support to us. So I wish all the best to have a good interaction with the Professor Mohan Raj, and benefit our students also. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before the speech of our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. R. Mohan Raj, I would like to introduce that Dr. Mohan Raj has been with the Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli, since from the year 2005. He has done MSc, MPhil, and PhD in environmental science. He is my immediate senior at the PSG College of Arts and Science. Before joining Bishop Weber College, he has taken various capacities as a research scholar in the Salim Ali National Center for Ornithology and Life Sciences, this under the Ministry of Environment, Forest, as well as he has been the fellow member in the Amrita Vishwavidyalaya, Coimbatore, and he also had very great research opportunities in very abroad countries also. His biodata has very length. When I see that he has won many research publications and a reviewer in very highly reputed journals, and editor also. He has held so many capacities as a member and team leader in various committees, and even in IGNOU also. He has been he has delivered various MOOC lectures, as well as is the part of the curriculum development committee, etc. So it is my great privilege to introduce our friend Dr. Mohan Raj in this August forum. Now I invite Professor Mohan Raj to deliver his lecture for the benefit of our students and staff and stakeholders. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Anbalagan, and thanks to Dr. Shanmugam, Regional Director, Madurai Center of IGNOU, and good evening to all participants. I think I can go ahead with the presentation. Okay. And I hope you're able to see the slides. And let me just see if I can go for full view. Okay. So I hope participants have the basic background knowledge about the environment, since they are learning from various courses that are relevant to MSc Environmental Sciences or other postgraduate diplomas. And With the view of the basic knowledge, I just want to introduce that how we respond to the environmental issues over the period of time. So then only we can talk about the lifestyle changes. And in fact, the lifestyle changes for environment is a new concept introduced by India to the world. And particularly government of India is very keen in promoting the kind of the lifestyle changes. In that context, we need to understand how the people over the period of time or since the environmental issues cropped up, how they are trying to respond to these environmental problems. And as on date, what kind of environmental issues that people around the world are facing, and what are the environmental issues just in front of our doorstep, or maybe we can call it as those issues which are trying to haunt us in every other way of the life, or every other walk of life. Or that is how I have, going to present you about the slides. So in this slide, you can see that there are like 1, 2, 3, there are 4 or 5 bars. Paradigm 1, paradigm 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the paradigms, how the people responded to the environmental problems. Initially, people were, none of us were concerned, or our parents or our grandparents, or maybe since 1950, no one was concerned about environmental issues, which means that if there is an issue, we think the environment is for the things in the environment was taken as granted. So there was no concern for the environment. People, whatever they feel like they were abusing or misusing the environmental resources. For example, if people were just releasing their kind of the liquid effluent or domestic effluent without any concern in the water bodies, or just dumping the wastes without any concern for the environment in the public. So they think that the waste, if they can get rid of the waste from the house, then it is the one which the environment is one which will take care, or environment is the one where we can dump all our kind of emissions, waste, the effluent, and etc., etc., etc. So nobody was concerned about it, and then this situation prevailed for quite some time. In the sense, till 1970s, the environment was able to absorb our waste, or all our natural ecosystems. To some extent, it was able to absorb, and then the natural cleansing was going on, or the nature responded to certain extent in a positive manner, that we didn't feel the pinch of the issues created, the kind of attitude we showed towards the environment. So what happened was, as we kept on dumping the wastes and the kind of degrading the environment, so there was a backfire from the environment towards us in terms of diseases, in terms of disorder, health disorders, or in terms of or a kind of ill effects. So that is how the environment started to give a kind of backfire towards us. So we realized that, okay, this is the problem. Now all the water bodies had been polluted, and the water is no longer safe for drinking purpose, and no longer safe even for the industrial purposes. That was the scenario in 1980s, where the people thought about how to treat this waste, since we had some sort of negative effects from the waste and the sewage which we released from our household and from the industries. So this had a kind of negative effects towards us. So people thought about to reverse or maybe to control that, people came up with some sort of end of pipe treatment. That is, just before releasing into the environment, just treat the water to some extent. That is, from the industries, they went for a kind of end of pipe treatment. So they thought that end of pipe treatment may be the good solution for the environmental issues or the environmental problems. So whatever it is, whether it is an air pollution or water pollution, just before releasing the waste from the industry, they adopted some sort of end of pipe treatment, which can be a small water treatment plant or which can be a small pollution control device attached to the industry. But they thought that this would solve the problem completely and there won't be any more environmental problems. But what happened was, this end of pipe treatment was not as successful as expected. In fact, that could not solve all the problem, and the problem could be solved only to a certain extent. Maybe it's a very little percentage was the result. Maybe that showed the ineffectiveness of the end of pipe treatment. So then they have to rethink about what else can be done. Since the problem remains unresolved, what sort of other activities can they do to improve the the ill effects of these wastes and emissions? So what they thought was, they realized that the environmental, the end of pipe treatment measures was so effective to control. And in fact, they could not treat all the 100% of the waste. So they could only treat some 50% or 70% or 40% of the waste. So they thought that why not we control the pollution? That is what is called as pollution prevention, 2P. So instead of treating the waste, why can't we prevent the pollution? So they were thinking about how to reuse the materials or how to recycle the materials so that the waste thrown into the environment can be reduced. So that was the third paradigm where people or the scientific community, the government or policymakers were thinking about introduction of pollution prevention, which means that the waste can be recycled or waste can be reused. So then they thought, along with the end of pipe treatment, this waste recycling and reusing will be the best technology or the best approach to solve the environmental problems. But what happened was, this also helped to some extent, or additionally, this helped to some extent in solving the environmental issues. But then there was not 100% satisfaction from this approach also. So what happened? Then again, the government tried to introduce or impose several kinds of measures, or even sometimes very strict laws to control the pollution. So this made another kind of paradigm. This started shifting the minds of the industrialists as well as the government to think about more on pollution reduction or pollution prevention. So what they thought was, okay, now there is some issue with the design itself. So why not we change the design of the system where you can reduce the environmental impact. So then came all this sort of design for waste minimization, design for accident prevention, design for energy consumption, design for material recovery, design for disassembly. So this tried to create some sort of innovation tried to trigger some innovation within the minds of the whole scientists, engineers, and then the government. So they came up with some sort of design change which could minimize for example, minimize the material use, minimize the waste, minimize the less hazardous or something like that. So within the industry itself, they try to incorporate such designs which could easily, or which could try to minimize the waste. So this is how you can see, like in pulp and paper industry, which is near to our university or closer to our university, there is a huge pulp and paper industry where they try to dump all the waste inside the what is that, the liquid effluents. They didn't in fact, they just released into the water earlier, but after all this pollution prevention and after all these stringent laws, they thought of recycling those wastewater. So once they try to recycle the wastewater, they realized that it has got a good potential for the extraction of methane. So what they thought is, they installed a kind of instrument or a device or or system within the industry. They tried to design a new system in the industry where this liquid effluent, which is full of which has very high organic load, can be converted to part of the, or at least 50% of the liquid effluent can be converted to methane gas. So they introduced, or they incorporated a system which is known as upflow anaerobic sludge reactor, or upflow anaerobic digester. So this helped to the recycle the waste, and in fact those in this recycle they could also get the energy, so which also substantially reduced their dependency on the energy from the external source. Otherwise they used to outsource the coal or other the fuel material from other places. So their fuel requirement also went down by half. So this is a kind of change which the industry is trying to adopt, or this is the kind of design change which they adopted in a nearby industry to our university, where now, as of now, the effluent is reduced to a larger extent, and they are trying to recover the methane, and methane is being used for their own industry. Similarly, whatever is the waste water coming out, they try to further treat, and they try to irrigate their own, the kind of forest they have developed, or the water or the raw material which they use, the wood. So they don't want to throw their water, or they release their water into the water body. Instead, they try to treat further and irrigate their own, the garden, which has hundreds of acres of land. Not only their garden, wherever possible, they try to irrigate the water, treated water, and now for the pulp production, for the tree, for the growth of trees, which means that their release to the environment has reduced to a larger extent. And in fact, it is now they have achieved a zero discharge. Zero water is discharged to the environment. So this is how the industrial designs are coming up nowadays, towards the to the rectifier, to mitigate the problems. So this, whereas many thought that this kind of design change will finally solve all the environmental problems. But then, in fact, the problem still, even after implementing the design change, the problem still persisted, which means that the paradigm and the next paradigm. So if an industry is keeping on improving or growth, that doesn't mean that it should ensure not only the environmental sustainability but also the social sustainability. So it should in fact take care of the society within them. Then only all the three pillars that is economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So that now it is not just only the environment. Now the two other component, that is economic sustainability and environmental sustainability, also became the core objective of the environmental remediation. So now you can know that there are many more approaches in the latest paradigm, where something like ISO 14001, ISO 45001, ISO 45000, environmental impact assessment, environmental life cycle assessment, environmental or the corporate environmental responsibility, industrial ecology. All these things are the new approaches which ensures which ensures and also have a balance on all three components, that is environment, economy, and society. So all the three has to be balanced in the modern day to achieve the overall sustainability. That is why we are talking about the lifestyle changes. So here, let me just begin. These are some of the major industries, or in fact, the growth of the country is dependent on in these five major industrial sector. That is electricity, oil and gas producers, industrial mining, metals and mining, food producers, and then construction materials. So the country's economic growth is dependent on these five major industrial sector. And in fact, environment and economy is like hand in hand. If your economic development happens, if there is a growth in all these five industry, certainly there will be a backlash in the environmental. So these are the five industries which are responsible for the all the environmental issues. Like you can see, the green color is the electricity production is responsible for the greenhouse gas, and in turn the climate change. And the red one is for water abstraction, and then air pollution. You can see the orange color, air pollution coming out of these industries. So like that, and then the natural resource degradation because of these industries. These are the five major industrial sectors. And in fact, all these industries serve to try to put the economic development. And then in turn, it is all related to our lifestyle and standard of living. So what happens? So all sorts of business, the endpoint, say for example, the raw material extraction or emission to air and water, or even the physical modification of land, that is like conversion of land to industries, conversion of land to highways, conversion of land to the mining areas. So if you start mining in the natural environment, so all these things are the, see, any industry, the growth of any industry is directly or indirectly related to the environment. Without environmental resource, an industry cannot exist. So they depend on environment either for the raw material or for the dumping of waste. So what happens is the impact categories are given in this, the next, this thing, the box. What ultimately how it is going to affect the human health, and then resource depletion and ecosystem quality is what in the third box. So you can see any change, all these activities, all wherever the industry or people or even where we intervene with the environment, you can see the number of changes like climate change, resource depletion, human toxic effect, ozone depletion. All these things are environmental impacts, and then which is ultimately affect our human health. So it's not that keeping on degrading the environment, our health will not be safe. So for safe human health, you need to ensure that the environment is, the pollution in the environment is minimum and to the acceptable limits. This is what is the, in the sense, approach to deal with the issue. So here you can see how the different countries have responded and how they have changed to their, their approaches. Here you can see in the air pollution, you can see all the red and orange dots are there in and around South Asian countries, particularly India. You can see India is one of the most polluted country in the world. And this is how we are responding to that. We respond very slowly or very lately to the issue. Whereas you can see the China, which is again, the better placed in the environmental, in the economy as well as in the environment, which means that the China, even in spite of their economic growth or economic development or industrialization, their pollution levels are very low compared to India. Only very few places the pollution is high in China, whereas overall they have rectified the problem of air pollution, like the United States or the European countries. But now the issue is only in and around the Indian subcontinent. You can see India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. These are some of the most polluted countries in terms of air pollution. And the issue here is why we need to bother on air pollution. It is, here you can see very recent research has identified that the global risk factor for deaths is the sixth risk factor is the airborne particulate matter or the air pollution. So how it is going to affect our human system is, these are the enough evidences and research which has confirmed that air pollution is also one of the factors that causes the stroke. And very recent research also unveiled that air pollution is closely related to the diabetes, ischemic heart disease, COPD, pulmonary diseases, lung cancer, the lower respiratory infections, and even the neonatal deaths. These are the new findings. Even though the cancer and all, the air pollution association with cancer was found long back, but these are the new findings which have substantial evidence that there are links between these diseases and air pollution. So as the population increases, certainly there is going to be further pollution, and how we are going to respond it. And actually the carrying capacity we had crossed somewhere in the 2000 or even before that. The carrying, as I mentioned in the very beginning, Earth can accept only to accept or reverse the pollution. It can to a certain limit. That is what we call it as carrying capacity. So we have exceeded the carrying capacity. So which means that you see this is what is the model. Impact is not only just population. Environmental impact is not only caused by population, but the A and T, PAT, IPAT model, where the population and affluence of the human population and the technology that controls the impact per unit wealth. So it is not just only the population. A small country like Qatar has a very huge impact on the environment, even though the population is less. The Qatar and some Middle East countries, the impact on the environment is very high, despite lower population, because the population, even though there is a population is small, they are very rich and they have all the technology. So if the population becomes affluent and then get access to the technology, then the pollution is more. That is why the Qatar has got very huge environmental footprint than India. So in India, if all the population is becoming rich or something like we become a developed country, then our population also, because if the country become rich, every other person will own a car, and every other person can they can release pollutants, because we have technology and we have wealth. So this in fact this poor or the economic levels of the people is one thing which plays an important role on the environmental impact. So this slide is nothing but it shows that how much the human have in fact degraded the environment, impact on biodiversity, and it shows that over exploitation and the pollution. You can see the most of the red ones are very high impact. There is an impact on habitat change. There is none of the arrows are pointing towards less impact. So there is very high impact, and this is what is called it as ecological footprint. This is a concept where how one single person or living in a country like India, or how the same person living in Russia or in UK or USA have their footprint. That means how much resource they use from the environment or how much they pollute the environment. Altogether, we call it as ecological footprint. So you can see the ecological footprints of different countries. Of course, India is the footprint of India is lower than all these countries. Many of the developed countries like Canada, you can see the Kuwait, which has got a very high, Kuwait and Qatar has got very high meeting, madam. Sorry. And the ecological footprint of the countries, you can see here, United States. The person in the United States have an ecological footprint of 9.7 hectare, which means that one person needs 9.7 hectare for the lifestyle. This is something but related to the lifestyle. How is the lifestyle of the person in US, and what is the lifestyle of the person in Mexico, and what is the lifestyle? So you can see the Pakistan somewhere here. Pakistan is 0.6 hectare. This is how, if you try to adopt the lifestyle of for the person in the United States or a Canada or a France, we are supposed to have the footprint will also be larger. So in fact our lifestyle presently is good, but still we need to adopt a lifestyle. That is what the Prime Minister or the government of India has mooted up, the lifestyle change. So the lifestyle which is being followed or which is being in practice in those developed countries, if you try to imitate such a lifestyle, then there won't be any place in the earth, or ultimately this is a kind of suicide attempt that our human population may perish if you adopt a lifestyle like this kind of people. You can see here this lifestyles. Okay, but how a person can have more ecological footprint? That means, for example, this is the consumed land. This is the New York City, where the city is built here, but then the resources to build the city has come from different places. It's not just the resources to build the city is not utilized only from this New York City. Some other places have been destroyed, and the construction materials have been brought from another place, or the iron and steel has been brought from another place. Another place was degraded and exploited, and a city has been built. So this is how the lifestyle. If you go for a sophisticated lifestyle, then your footprint will be more. A person living in New York City will have more footprint than if somebody living in Chennai or Bangalore or somewhere. So, and in fact, to produce the furnitures, as you become rich, we would require more furniture, and more forest or more trees will be cut. And as you become rich, every other person will be using the car, and the transportation footprint also will increase. For example, if a person travels by bicycle, he needs only 120 square kilometer or something. But if you travel in a group as a bus transport is also fine. But if all the persons are using the car, every other person requires 1,444 square meters. So this is how we have an impact. As the wealth increases, we try to impose more ecological footprint. So this is where we have to think about the lifestyle changes. How best to to fit into the lesser footprint. What sort of, it is not the question, but here it is not just question of the getting transformed or transition to the electronic vehicle, EV vehicle, or even solar. But that is also to, a step towards a better lifestyle for environment. But still, there are, wherever possible, we can use the public transport, which can reduce the transportation footprint at least to our country, or to maybe to the land where we belong to. And similarly, the urban footprints. For example, this is what is urban expansion has an effect on the environment. This is like Bangalore city, how the city was in 1973, and over the period of time, you can see the greenery has come down, and now in 1973 the greenery was, or the natural environment, or the greenery was 68.2%, but now the greenery is just only to 2.96%. This is how the transformation occurs. And there is a complete onslaught on the greenery. So this is how we try to cause, or we exploit the greenery. So where we have to think about the lifestyle changes, how busy this is, not only in the hands of our individual, but the whole policy, the whole development, everything should include the environmental, the concept into the development plan, which later can give a better output in terms of the results which we look for, or which can minimize the environmental impact. And again, it is all about air pollution. So this is the top 3 contributors by percentage. You can see country Beijing, Mumbai, or some of the, and in which sector there is a pollution, whether it is residential or industry. So here in India, we can say that residential contribute more to the air pollution. Residential means it is an individual house. So whereas in China, the industrial, you can see here industry, then agriculture, and in some other country, agriculture is remains the most contributor to the air pollution. But in India, so residential. That is why we are forced to think about the lifestyle changes for environment. Okay, so this is again another slide which shows that in India and Pakistan, there is the graphical picture shows that the air pollution levels are higher and higher till 2000. It is not coming down. Whereas in countries like China, it has come down from 2014. The air pollution levels are coming down in spite of high economic growth. So what changes they have adopted? What approaches they have? What strategies they follow? So which takes care of the development also, society also, and then environment also. This is how the approach which we have to incorporate in all our day-to-day activities or development plans, etc. And similarly, air pollution rises in India a day after Diwali. This is another kind of lifestyle change. So we often always gone are those days, but now since the population has increased, even a small activity like if you put fire for a leaf in your backyard, that contributes to air pollution. There is a safe way to dispose the litter fall, or a safe way to dispose, but instead if you try to create a backyard fire for every other thing, it is not the correct method. So we need to change our lifestyle in thinking that why to just simply burn the things. Instead, we can take it to the better, in smart city, there are a lot of other projects where everything is being recycled or reused. So we better give to the corporation or better give to the civic body, which can take care of the waste in whatever way they feel they can treat it, instead of just burning things. So since Diwali is coming now, I specifically try to put this slide. You can see here in India, this industry, it causes, although our already our air pollution levels are very high, and a festival like this, the attitude of the people, even though some places they have banned or their time restrictions, but still, as a mindset of the people, doesn't change during this kind of festival period. So if they can minimize their activity like this during this kind of festival. That is one sort of lifestyle changes in lifestyle. People can think about their changes, although this may have some impact on the the firecracker suspend production, because India imposed some sort of restrictions in the firecrackers and all, which will also have some impact on this kind of woman who is working from morning since evening in the firecracker unit. Very recently also in near Tiruchirappalli, there was a fire accident where some 15 people were killed in the last week. So this industry supports this kind of poor people. And if they close on in one fine morning, if they close, we have to think about the rehabilitation or relocation plans for these laborers. So it is not that just banning the industry. We have to think for alternatives. So here, as a scientist or as an academicians or as a students, we have to think for innovative methods or innovative solutions. For example, many countries are thinking about, the chemicals which can cause the less pollution. So which was something like a green, what is that? The metals which can cause pollution, and then they have found some alternatives. For example, here you can see these are some of the compounds which are being used in the firecrackers, which has this much of effect. But in the green chemistry, you can see there is a barium-free pyrotechnic formulations. So boron carbide is used instead of the highly polluting substances like the potassium nitrate and all. So this kind of new thinking and new developments are coming up, which we can also, as a consumer, we have to select the one which is any product, not only the cracker, but any product if you buy, whether it is an AC or a car or kitchen appliances, we can look for the one which is green, which has a green label, or which is produced from the less impact. There are labels available in each and every product. So maybe you can, before buying, we can check all these things and buy a better product which has minimum impact on the environment. So maybe with this, I have many more slides, but still I thought it is already 4:50. I can stop here. And then maybe, so as I told you, one t-shirt, it could be a t-shirt we are buying, but then it is using 2,700 liters to produce to manufacture one t-shirt of cotton t-shirt. About 2,700 liters of water is being either polluted or used. So which means that the impact is very high, the footprint is very high, and we are exporting to the European countries. Why they don't want to manufacture the t-shirt in their own country? Because the countries like India, where they sell for even if you the cost of, if you put one rupee for 1 liter to this cost of this t-shirt should be around 2,700 rupees. So this is how we pollute the environment. We sell it for just $10 or $5 in the American market. Which so this is how we pollute, and then we earn some wealth by polluting our own environment. So okay, so anyway, So before buying the product, we need to think about so many things and how best we can change our lifestyle so that we can minimize the impact on environment. So maybe I can stop here, and if you have any clarifications, I can answer.
Yeah.
It's already, I think, 4:55.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mohan Raj. You have given a very great insight and covered a lot of things. Seeing your slide, I come to know that the Bangalore city, which has had the more than 68% greenery, now it has come to 22%. These are very alarming situation, because during the COVID-19 lockdown, only the people have got realized the impact of the environmental pollution in a severe way. So it is environment is everyone's business. Everyone has to graciously contribute for the wealth and health of the great environment. Today's resource person has given a great lecture with covering all the aspects. Now I invite questions from any participants so that we can have a Q&A session. Now it is open to participants. At least any one or two can come forward. Any questions? I think no questions, Dr. Mohan Raj.
Okay. Yes. Maybe we can close the session.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar, and thanks.
I extend my heartfelt thanks to today's resource person, Professor Mohan Raj from the Department of Environmental Science and Management, Bharathidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. I extend my thanks to our esteemed and senior most colleagues, Professor Radha Madam, the Senior Regional Director from Regional Center Bangalore, and our colleague ARDs, Dr. Emma Malini, and our esteemed coordinators who have graced their time with us. Our esteemed colleagues, Dr. Sukumar, the counselor from the Bishop Weaver College, and so many other colleagues, the senior most coordinators from the study centers, our esteemed students. For all of you, I extend my thanks. For Thank you one and all for participating in this webinar.
Very good webinar, sir. Very knowledgeable. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Dr. Sumar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.